Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Outside the Cinema, your weekly source for Tubi Originals.
Yeah. Oh, I just watched a review somebody did of a Tubi original called Lowlifes, and they said it was pretty good for even a Tubi original. It was good for a regular movie, so maybe we can.
Yeah, I've seen that one come across the thing a couple times. That one, and I got a list of them, but you're not going to need to worry about it for at least another week and a half.
That's true.
Very true. So this week on the show, though, Killer Body Count and the Sintern.
The worst title I've ever heard for a movie.
Yeah, I mean, there's worse titles out there, but the Sintern, I think once you watch the movie, it gets even worse.
Yeah, it should have been called A Daughter's Justice, not Gleaming the Cube.
Right. No, but like the name, the Sintern definitely gives off like erotic thriller.
Oh, absolutely.
Late night Cinemax.
Yeah, it's done by the guy that did the Bear Wench Project, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like softcore, like Red Shoe Diaries type feel.
And that wasn't this movie.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
It was one of the ones we watched.
Yeah, and then also you watch this interest and you're like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Or no, the Sintern.
Right.
The Sintress would have been a better name, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't have been any worse. The Sintern.
That's true.
And Killer Body Count are the two. So we got Scott later in the show. No Joe this week because we're recording at a different time and I didn't give him the heads up. And I know Joe usually does his segments on Sundays, so he gets an extra week. And he's got to watch Psycho 2 this week. So
I've heard, I don't remember when it came out, the reception, but people seem to go back and really like it. So I'm curious.
I definitely saw it back in the day, and I don't remember hating it.
I know I saw it, but I don't remember what people were saying at all.
I don't remember what I said.
No, me either.
Let alone other people. So, what's going on? So also, if you want to join our Patreon, we would be very much appreciative of it. Patreon.com/outside the cinema. That place is where all the shows go first. You get them early. You get bonus shows. You'll get the end of year show, the end of year music show. You also get full access to the show archives, so you can go back and listen to every episode we've ever done, every bonus episode, all the old live shows, all that stuff's there. Plus all the films that we used to run in the Halloween Throwdown are available there.
That's a good bonus. I like that.
Yeah, pretty low quality now because I was editing that stuff together when I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, but I mean it's free, so.
That's true.
Well,
I guess you're paying
free
for the membership, but like it's free-ish.
It's $5.
It's free-ish. Also, if we wanted to follow me on Whatnot, you can just look up Old School Edge on Whatnot. Did a big sale the other day and sold some stuff. All that money that we're doing on Whatnot also is getting put into helping get Don't Forget to Leave distributed properly.
Nice.
And into theaters where we can get it into and all that stuff. So, and you can also follow Kyle and I on Depop at Horrifines. There's a whole bunch of stuff available there too. So
I keep
now that I've tried to
go ahead.
What?
Oh, I keep forgetting to tell you this. When we went to the screening of Don't Forget to Leave, right? It was all of us, me and my wife and kids. And then like 6 weeks later, Nova said something. There was some joke about drugs or somebody on the news had died, just tragic stuff. And Nova said, well, that's why I'm glad I saw that movie. I'm like, what are you talking about? Because it was like a month ago, right? And we watch a lot of stuff. And apparently the story in there for Don't Forget to Leave seems like it's enough to have scared her off of drugs.
Good.
So I can say for a fact it has affected 2 people.
Great.
So yeah,
awesome.
Really stuck with her. And she was 15, so like I didn't give her any credit for anything at all. But the thing is, Nova acts so much like me when I was young. I sort of fall into how my parents would act toward me. And that now is only lasting about 10 seconds until I can catch it and stop it. But Nova has seen how I'm treated by my parents. firsthand. So it's one of those situations where she's like, no, I get it. It's okay. We're fine. I'm like, okay, good. They are so much better than I ever could have hoped for.
We're lucky.
I don't talk about them.
We're lucky guys. We got kids that are good kids.
Yeah.
And that's, as I am seeing with some of Travis's, I'm not going to say Travis's friends, but people that Travis goes to school
His
with.
school associates.
Oh my God. Like there was a kid, obviously who shall remain nameless. They got into a fight with a kid last week. And they got into the same two kids got into a fight again this week when one of the kids was trying to apologize for, or trying to make, maybe not apologize, but just trying to make peace or whatever.
Okay.
And this other kid took a swing at him. And somebody had called the kid's parents because they knew something was going down and they're like, you should come down here.
Huh.
And so the kid's mom showed up of the kid that was trying to make peace. And then the other kid took a swing at the kid's mom.
Oh.
And like,
how old was that dumb motherfucker?
13, I think.
Jesus.
I just see there's this group of kids that like I seen because I've coached baseball now in town for like 6 or 7 years.
Right.
So like any kid that's ever played baseball, I've come across like that. Like I remember them.
Right.
And this kid's always been one of those kids that's just like, difficult to deal with. I don't know, what he's got going on at home or like any of that stuff. But like, it's just, he's a difficult kid. And these kids are at an age, and because your girls were at the age a couple of years ago of like, 12, 13. Where like once hormones start to come into play, like kids lose their minds.
Yeah, I forgot because that's the benefit of getting older. I forgot just how important stupid shit used to feel when I was that age.
Everything is the end of the world.
Because it sort of is. That's all the life experience they have up to that point. So it's everything. And it's really interesting to go back and see.
Oh no!
How did that
You're dropping everything
thing fall back there?
See, dude, when I was trying to get my headphones earlier, how did 5 things fall down for something that I pick up every single day?
I don't know. I don't. My fucking Creature from the Black Lagoon, both of them, a 6-inch and an 8-inch one, they both took a fucking stage dive yesterday. And of course, I got to pick them up right away because they love. Dogs will come in and be like, "Oh, a plastic thing." I've only had 2 things chewed up, but ugh. Oh, one funny story, real quick. So our youngest dog, Loki, who is the light brown one, whenever somebody comes home, she grabs one of their shoes and runs out back with it because that's the person she wants to go out back with her. I have a pair of high tops, well, mid tops here, and I'm trying to keep them in really good condition. And I had just taken them off, and she came in and did this little with the eyes watching me, and her mouth slowly opening. And I said, "No, that's not your shoe." And she got really like, "Ooh," and walked away, and then came back 3 minutes later to try again. But it's nice. She doesn't chew them apart. She just kind of takes them outside and is like, "You got to come get your shoe. Come outside, throw the ball while you're here."
I mean, you are here, so
it's a smart dog. I'll give her that.
Crazy.
I just thought that was a funny story.
All right. Killer body count. We'll start there because this is actually so we've done a number of Tubi films so far. This one is an actual horror movie, like actual slasher film, and we've got a trailer for it, so we'll play it.
Good luck.
I grant consent to treat my daughter as necessary.
What is this place?
Beautiful Savior Treatment Center.
Hello there!
You must be Cammy.
The girls' rooms are in the main building. That's where the boys' cabin is.
See something you like?
Yeah. No phones allowed during treatment.
There's something not right about this place. Very.
It all depends on Cammy's willingness to change.
Sexual immorality, impurity, and debauchery.
How did you know what I did last Thursday?
20 years ago, a 17-year-old priest killed all the other kids, the nuns, everyone. There's no getting out of here.
Want to break some rules?
So much for rehab.
The devil followed me here.
The devil.
maybe he only kills people who, you know.
We need to leave now. There is a killer on the loose.
This isn't some 80s slasher. The call isn't coming from inside the house.
You're deviants. Jezebels. You laugh in God's name. There will be consequences.
Do you know how to use this?
Yeah, I saw it on Stranger Things.
Oh.
Stupid. Killer body count. This is 2024. This is directed by Danishka Estrazi, who is probably best known as the director of the Lifetime movie I Was Lorena Bobbitt.
Okay. A movie
But
I
she
haven't
also
seen.
did she's done some TV work, some stuff for Netflix, but she also directed the Slumber Party Massacre remake from 2021.
Ah, yeah, I remember you telling me that. Okay.
Yep. She also did the Banana Splits movie.
Okay. Now
So she's
it
got
makes
some stuff.
sense.
Yeah, she's got some stuff in her catalog here. Because I know when I was looking, and the first thing I saw was the Lorena Bobbitt Lifetime movie, I got very scared.
Oh, geez,
because of the other Tubi things that we've kind of come across here. This is also written by Jessica Landry, who also wrote List of a Lifetime, which I'm not familiar with. A Podcast to Die For, which is probably a Tubi movie that we'll watch at some point.
Yeah.
And some different other different things. So the stars Cassio Eddock Winnick as Cammy, Bjorn Steinbach, Alex McGregor, Savannah Trudeau, and then some other people. There isn't really anyone you're going to recognize in this. Cassio Winnick, she is the main star. She was in The Dark Tower and Kite. But this is, as far as I can tell, her first kind of like lead role. Okay. She was supporting and all of that stuff. So the story is pretty simple. You have Cammy, who is a teenager. I'm guessing these kids are supposed to be about 16 or so, 16, 17 maybe.
Yeah.
It's never really clear. They look young, but they don't look like too young.
They're old enough to be having sex with each other, which is what this movie needed to establish.
Yeah. They're old enough to be having sex with each other, but not so old that it's not a thing.
Right.
So teenager, I would say anywhere from 15 to 17, because once you become 18, you're an adult, and I don't think you could be thrown into one of these religious treatment camps if you were 18.
You shouldn't, but
you shouldn't. You shouldn't. So Cammy is she is a 16, 17-year-old girl that is looking to explore sexuality and other things. She's got a boyfriend in the church, or she's got a dude in the church that she's, doing things with. And they established it very early on that her mother has passed away recently, and her dad is really clamped onto the church as, trying to make it so that she is on the righteous path and all of these things. Yeah. We do get a quick thing at the beginning of two kids in a tent having sex, and then one of them being murdered by the cloaked devil-masked individual that becomes the slasher killer in this film.
Yeah, that was a good way to start it, because it's considering the other three that we've watched so far. This one isn't. It's like, okay, we are a horror movie. Here we go.
Yes,
look,
yes.
blood, everything, death. We're good.
Yeah, they definitely. I wouldn't say that it's an incredibly violent movie, but they don't steer clear from it.
No, the violence they do show could be kind of gruesome in some points. So
yeah, I don't think it got a theatrical rating, but its TV rating was TVMA.
Yeah.
So, but it's interesting though, because the film is so sexualized. There's no actual nudity.
Yeah,
a lot of bloodshed, but no nudity, which I thought was interesting.
Everything is just heavily hinted at, and that was all right. I actually didn't mind that, because I don't know. Sometimes when because I'm straight, so I'm interested in women, obviously. Mm-hmm. I think when women are wearing clothes, it's a little more mysterious. Like they get the main character gets her top off and then puts it back on a second later because of plot, but she doesn't button her top up and everything. And it's like, you just, I don't know. I never enjoyed strip clubs.
Nah, me either.
They all looked bored. I felt bad for them, but I didn't want to, so I stopped going. But anyway, I realize now I was 21 at the time, but like it's their job, and it's like, yeah. But yeah, like lingerie or whatever, I think can be more enticing. That's me. I'm weird, so
Yeah, you are weird.
Whatever.
But that doesn't make you any less cool in my book, dude.
Oh, because I wasn't cool to start with. I know.
No, you're not. Anyway, so she's fooling. She gets caught fooling around with her man in the basement of the church.
Yeah.
And
Nice choice, dum-dum.
yeah, there's a lot of dumb choices in this movie. It wouldn't be a slasher movie if there wasn't. So her dad is basically like, I don't know what to do with her. And the priest is like, well, we have this camp that some people started. And we can send her there for religious treatment to help rid her of her impure thoughts and all of that. Now, I mean, tried and true story of, the religious crazies trying to basically, and they say this a number of times where like, I'm not doing anything any other kid wouldn't be doing.
Right.
And which is true.
Yeah.
And especially in 2024 where sexuality and, sexual identities and sexual preferences are brought to light so much earlier in life. Like you don't see nearly, the amount of, the person coming out as gay or bisexual or trans, like, I mean, you do still see it, but like kids are so much more in tune with their sexuality earlier in life and aren't afraid if they're not cis, white male or female to like explore. So there's a lot of explorations of gay tones in this film. There's a lot of bisexual ones.
And to be fair, a lot of the acceptance that the kids are getting for being who they are is coming from kids. And we're kind of lucky being in Massachusetts. A lot of people don't have the ability to say truthfully what you just said. But we're working on it. Everybody's coming together. Stuff is just, once you're exposed to something for long enough, just knowing something's there, it becomes normal, even if you think it's abnormal.
Yeah. Yeah, very much so. So she's sent off to this camp. She gives the dad, like, why are you sending me here? Why are you doing this? I don't, I shouldn't be here. And basically he's like, she says something about, this is because you're not dealing with mom's death. And basically he's like, well, fuck you, whatever, you're staying here. So we get introduced to Eugene. We get introduced to Wyatt, Allie, Mia, Dan, Chris, Toby.
Yeah, there's a bunch of
they're
people.
the other kids. Yeah, they're the murder fodder.
Yeah.
And then we are introduced to Tawny and what was the other guy?
I want to say Frank, but I don't think so. Let me get the
Tawny and who was the guy? Ethan? No. Was it Toby? Tawny and Toby?
I don't know. What was the first? It wasn't just body count. What was it?
It was Killer Body Count. Either way, well, you have Tawny and her brother who are the main camp people, not really counselors because this isn't like an outdoor camp or something like that. It's very much a like deprogramming camp.
Yeah.
And Tawny is very hard and angry in the way that she is teaching, and the gentleman Toby, I think it's Toby, he is more
Toby. Yeah.
He still like goes with her, but like he's more understanding and like less against the corporal type punishment stuff that she puts these kids through.
Yeah, basically he's a nice person.
Tries to be, but he is not nice enough to stand up.
Well, no, because there's a whole thing going on with the brother and sister, if they even are brother and sister.
Yeah, and that's the question, because they make the joke about the two of them sleeping together, and spoiler alert, there's a whole thing going on with that, with the two of them that are supposed to be brother and sister.
Yeah, and you know what? They're not in real life, so I'll just go with it for the story. I have to say, Alex McGregor is the actress's name that played Tawny, and I didn't like her at first. I'm like, oh, they should have just got Jenny Slate to do this. But as it went on, I started to like her more and more because she's not beholden to any kind of like preconceived notion that we have. Like Jenny Slate or any comedian or actor stepping into it would have all their other roles there.
Yeah.
But she comes in and she's just, this is it. That's who she is to me. And she threw everything into that. I liked her.
Yeah, she did a good job.
I liked her performance.
She was in
It says she was in that Slumber Party Massacre remake, which I'm gonna have to watch.
she was in Blood Drive too, which I thought was pretty good.
Is that the car powered by blood?
Yeah.
I haven't seen that, but
the TV series.
I read about it.
Was it a TV series? Yeah, it was a TV series on El Topo. On El Topo. What was Robert Rodriguez's network?
El Rey?
I don't think El Rey. Yeah. Yeah, it was decent.
Okay.
It was decent.
Okay.
Definitely worth checking out. Anyway, so the two of them are, like super hard and super harsh and, basically are berating these kids, making them pray, do all that stuff. We get a little bit of character development between the girls and then the boys, and they, become friendly. And, there's obviously some, one person thinks this, one person thinks that, there's all these different things. But what it comes down to is all of them are there against their will. All of them are super horny, and all of them are like, looking for a way out.
Yeah, because that's a teenager.
Yep. So Cammy is roommates with Wyatt. Wyatt is a girl. And they sneak out and they see two of the other kids fornicating.
Mm-hmm.
And then the girl, and it's like the total like sex for sex. It's not about relationships. It's about like the girl's just like, yeah, she got what she needed, and she's like, all right, cool, I'm out of here. And the guy's like, where are you going or whatever. And then we see the hooded figure with the devil mask again, comes out, murders the dude. Cammy and Wyatt see it happen.
Yeah.
And then they try to get away or whatever, and then basically continue.
Before that, they went to Tawny's cabin and heard her having sex. But we never saw with who at this point. And I really liked how they played around with the red herrings. They really confused it up, if you will.
Yeah, the writing in this was superior to pretty much all of the other Tubi movies we've watched.
I was surprised because it's not always easy to write a mystery where you're leading people down different paths.
Yeah. And usually, slasher stuff is so paint by number a lot of times. And I'm not saying that this is not a film that's breaking any new ground or anything like that. But it was kind of refreshing to see like just a standard slasher going through the tropes of the like stuff with the, the twists and turns and, who's who and all that stuff. So,
yeah. Who the big bad is like before you start the movie because it's obvious.
Yeah. They do it. I think, what the big bad is.
Yeah.
But they do a pretty good job of kind of masking, and creating, like, when you get to the finale, and I won't give the finale away because I think it for a movie like this, I thought was pretty smart. And gives you the little twists and turns. So it's like, yeah, you know what's going on, but you're like, when you find out, you're like, oh, there's this other stuff that's going on.
Yep.
And I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah. They spent a lot of time setting up all of this other stuff for basically every character has other stuff going on. And it sort of informs their decisions and choices of decisions. I don't know why I said that. But I want to criticize one part of it, but I know why they did it. Like, so at one point, the girls are all talking, and it seems to get to the point where they're like, yeah, we're fucking, but nobody's having orgasms, just them. And then it's almost like they all decide at once to be like, no, we're going to get ours. And that was if they had done it like one or two more times, I probably would have been like, yeah, enough of this shit.
They did a pretty good job with it.
The boys are using the girls to get off, so the girls are using the boys. Okay.
Yeah, good. It works. It totally works.
And everything that our main character said to her father was true. It wasn't the spoiled kid making shit up about how it wasn't me that drove the car through the front of the house. It's like, what I'm doing is normal. I am having a normal amount of sex with people, and I'm being careful. But the guy went full MAGA when his wife died, which is a thing that happens. Divorces and that kind of thing can
and a lot of it relates to religion because people fall down the hall. They lose a loved one. They need something to grab onto. They grab onto God. And as we've seen,
because it's a welcoming group of people. Yeah.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot of politics recently, and I like don't necessarily want to get into it again.
You don't want to talk about the black Nazi down there?
Dude, my God. So that guy's, those posts, like CNN didn't put any of the posts that guy did.
Oh.
But I've watched I have a couple of different news things that I watch on YouTube, and they were like, I think it does a disservice to not let you guys see what this guy actually wrote.
100%. You're not fully informed if they don't tell you.
Yeah. So the dude, like, he couldn't even read the stuff. He was like, started reading it, and he's like, I can't. He's like, it's on the screen if you want to read it. It's like, I can't read this.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
I'm gonna be completely like non-judgmentally honest. Okay. I think that man is mentally ill.
I think so too. So Mel and I talked about this last night, and I will never kink shame somebody for whatever they're into, as long as nobody's getting hurt and everybody's into whatever they're into.
Yeah. Kids aren't a kink. Kids is an invitation for me to punch you in the throat.
And the things that just like goes with it is that, like, hey, you know what? You can be into whatever you're into. You can post whatever sick shit you want to post on whatever porn message board you want. But if you're going to run for a public office later in your life, you have to understand that shit will follow you. Because especially if you're standing on a platform of anti-trans, anti-gay, you know, anti-everybody, and you in your past have waxed nostalgic about watching trans porn and being interested in all these other kinks and stuff. And again, I don't care that you're into that shit. That's fine. You're into what you're into, but you can't then later in life run for the governorship of a state.
Yeah.
And then when they find it on, you'd be like, oh, well, that's probably AI. It's like, dude, that's not how AI works, first of all.
No, but stupid people don't understand how AI works, and
no, this guy, that guy, Robinson, whatever his fucking first name is.
I didn't bother to learn his name.
Fucking idiot.
Yeah.
Like how, and like, oh, well, no, it's not true. But no, man, we've got the IPs, we've got the logins, we've got the emails. Like, dude, this is real. And then he didn't even fucking step out of the race.
Not yet.
He still, the thing was, he had to step out by midnight last night in order for the Republicans to be able to replace him as a candidate. There was a cutoff at midnight last night.
Okay.
Where, because whenever the election is, 50 days away, I think at this point, when we're recording, he had to step down and by midnight last night in order for the Republican Party of the state to be able to replace him and put a different name on the ticket. Now,
so he'll just
if he steps out, his name is going to be on the thing regardless of whether, and they can't put somebody else in.
Right. And that's their own fault. You know?
Well, it's their own fault because they put this guy in there when they had, I'm sure many other people that they could have run as candidates that would have been not nearly as problematic as him.
Yeah. But this is what's happening now. This is kind of interesting, actually. What I think happened is we got from Reagan on, we have the evangelical right trying to set people up in positions where they can be used later. So they played the long game from the 80s. But now it feels like the Republicans are trying to do a DC and just like make a Justice League movie by putting the craziest motherfuckers in office that they can find that will follow their directions. This idiot said he would join the Klan if they would let him. Now,
like, you know what color your skin is, right, man?
Now, is he a troll? Is he going to get into office and be like, just kidding, trans operations for everybody?
No, this guy, he wasn't going to win anyway.
No. Did they not learn from Herschel fucking dumb as a fucking stump walker?
I mean, apparently not.
Because that man.
Anyway,
that man needs help.
I didn't want to get into this. Let's get back to the movie.
No, but it's religion and it kind of works.
Right, no, and that's the thing is like the people that are like the most religious are the ones that are most fucked up, and this movie like plays into that too of the crazy religious side of people that do insane things because they think it's done in the right, not meaning the right like the alt-right, but like it's the right thing to do.
Right, but that's just because some crazy person has convinced them it's the right thing to do.
Right, exactly. In
this movie at least.
Specifically talking about the movie. And so the other thing with this movie that the that it does right is it does ramp up your violence. It does ramp up your gore. And the film is called Killer Body Count. And although not a ton of people get killed, there is a body count in it, which is good because some of this Tubi stuff tends to mislead you in its explanations and its trailers and stuff. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the Sintern.
Yeah, we'll never get that right.
Is Sintern another movie? Is that why I keep getting that caught in my head?
It might be because I've said that a few times. Let me see.
Okay. Anyway, so Killer Body Count, it's solid, but it's got some issues, and one of its issues is that in its group of kids that they have, you have Cammie, who is the white girl, and then you have 3 sort of nondescript African American girls, and like they're not, with the exception of Wyatt, who is the roommate, the other 2. They're not. It's not really like they're not given much to differentiate them as characters.
Yeah, they're early fodder, especially the the one like the woman from Police Academy that can't really speak too loud. I forgot her character's
Ellen Cleghorn. No, not Ellen Cleghorn. Ellen Cleghorn is on Saturday Night Live. Either way, so
yeah.
But like, there's a point where like they're both the two of them are getting chased around by the killer, and then like one of them reappears, and I'm like, I swore that girl was dead.
Yeah, it was that one, right? The quiet.
But then the other girl pops back up too, and I'm like, so I'm like, well, who got killed? There was a point where I had to kind of walk it back in my head where I thought they killed somebody off, and then brought them back in, but I think they got it right.
Yeah.
And I also love that it's the girls are put forward in this too, because most of the guys are all murdered very quickly.
Oh yeah.
There's a really hilarious scene where one of the boys. When they're done cleaning the chapel after being punished, sneaks into the confessional and has nudie magazines hidden in the confessional. First of all, in 2024, nobody has a nudie magazine. I guess they took their phones away, so I guess like I don't know where it came from.
This is a different place. I can see that. My question is, how did he know it was there? How did he find out? And how did the other people not find them? Okay,
that's his spank booth.
That's fine.
It's his spank. They probably share it. They probably all use it.
Yeah, he was way too fucking loud though.
Yeah.
Like, good job, dummy. Keep your mouth shut when you finish up.
But anytime you see a movie and a dude gets fucking lit up cranking it, it's always good.
Yeah.
It's always good. So
I do like the double title because we have actual murders and we have people trying to sleep with as many people as possible. So
yeah,
good on them. I don't like the term personally, but good for them. They did it all right.
So as things kind of come together, you get some twists and turns. You get like they do it. I think a pretty good job of kind of giving you the flip on what your expectation is.
Yep.
At the end, which I thought was pretty good. So
yeah, everything tied up really well.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's give it a grade then. All right, Chris. Do you recommend and what is your grade for Tubi Original Killer Body Count?
All right. I will recommend this. And I was thinking about this earlier today, and I'm glad I remembered it because I don't remember a lot of things anymore. My recommendation settings have changed since streaming has become like the norm, because it used to be, would you pay for cable for this? Would you go see it in a theater? Would you buy the Blu-ray? That's all stuff I would consider with a recommendation. But since this is just streaming, it's a little lower of a bar because you don't have really a lot of money invested into the whole thing.
Especially with Tubi.
Yeah. I mean, if it's Tubi, you know what you're getting into, usually. But yeah, so this one, it was. I didn't mind anything about it, and when it got to the actual slasher parts, when that came back in, there was enough mystery with the characters, there was enough determination, and there were enough obstacles in the way to make it all just below over the top. And I liked it. It gave it this weird semi-surreal sense of reality because they're, so far away. It was a great way to have them get rid of their phones. All of it. It was just, I was surprised. Most of these, if they're not god awful train wrecks, I'm going to be surprised by them.
I agree.
I would watch this one after I did the clickbait house one.
Okay.
In order. I forget what the other one we did with clickbait was. Shit.
clickbait one that was, Deep Web or one of those ones?
I don't remember. There was the other Tubi original that we did. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so far 2 of these I may actually watch again. Maybe not this one, but definitely that influencer one. I think I'll watch with the kids so we can have a good laugh because it's sort of a comedy. So I'm gonna give this a B. It was okay. It was pretty good. Pretty good.
So there's 2 that we've reviewed that. So there was Sharkbait, Clickbait Unfollowed,
right?
Deadly Invitations, Romy, Killer Body Count, and we're about to talk about the Sintern.
Wow, we've done a lot of them.
6.
I thought we were only up to 3 and then 4 with the next one, but yeah, I think at the end of this we should just put them in order. We should rank them.
We could do that. I feel like we need to do a bunch of them though. We need to do like at least 10. 10 to like 14 or 16.
Yep.
But we got to pre-record a bunch of shows, so we can probably make that work.
Yeah,
anyway, sorry, what was your grade?
B, just a straight B.
Cool. All right. So, Deadly Body Count surprised me because I didn't really expect much because I watched it after the Sintern, which we'll be doing momentarily. Not to spoil that review. But I was pleasantly surprised because we have seen kind of more so than not some very toothless horror films from the Tubi Originals, and I think they just have a lot of stuff. And I think we're going to have to wade through the water and the weeds here to find the ones that really are horror movies. And this one is a horror movie. It's a little bit silly. It's a little bit kind of plasticky coated kind of feeling. But I think overall it's a pretty solid film. So I am going to recommend it. Don't expect this to be some sort of reimagining of the slasher genre. It plays your tropes. You got your final girl, you got your, masked killer, you got your twists and turns. It's not a supernatural thing, so you don't have to worry about like zombie priest or anything like that. Like it's all like put in the quote unquote real world. And I think they do a pretty good job of tying up all their loose ends and kind of giving you the red herrings. I think the acting in it is good for what it is. It's not there's no performances in this that I would be like, oh yeah, that's an incredible performance.
No, and I thought the lead she did a great job. I'd like to see her in more stuff.
Sure. Yeah, solid for sure, but nothing that we haven't seen before.
True, it's more Friday the 13th than In a Violent Nature.
Correct.
So
correct. So I will give this a B-. I think it's pretty good. It's not great, but it's solid. There's a lot worse ways to spend an hour and 40 minutes. And the thing was, this was a little bit longer than the other Tubi ones we've watched. It's like it was actually like an hour 45, maybe an hour 50.
Yeah.
But it didn't feel long.
There was one point where I'm like, I feel like I've been watching this for a long time. And then like your final reveal happened and I'm like, oh, okay, here's the end. So I'm like, good. It was just the right amount of time for me to wonder, is it over? But I didn't hit the button to see where on the time code we were. So that's a plus for the movie if I don't check how much longer I have.
Correct. Yeah.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, let's move on to the Sintern. There's no trailer for it. There probably is one somewhere, but I'm not going to bother tracking it down. This one's listed as a TV movie.
Okay. That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yep. Directed by Julie Herlocker. Again, we didn't mention it with the last film, but again, female directors.
Yeah.
For both of these films this week.
We didn't look for that, but that's what happened. So
no,
we'll get it right next week, I guess. No, I'm kidding.
I guess,
I'm
yeah.
kidding.
So Julie Herlocker has worked on a bunch of stuff. She worked on Grimm. She worked on Las Vegas. Looks like she directed something from 2021 called The Close Call. That art looks familiar. Bridget Branna and Elise Mirdo. There's no plot.
No, this one really, I couldn't find any information on this outside of the little bit that Tubi had. Nothing was.
Yeah.
There was no expansion on the plot or anything.
Okay. Most of these are faces you won't recognize. Samuel L. Larson was in a couple seasons of Glee, so you'll probably recognize him. Evelyn Giovanni, who is the main star, kind of like bit parts in a bunch of different things. I'm sure if we scroll through, she's probably been in some Lifetime movies. She's got that kind of look.
Yeah.
I don't see anything here, but is what it is. Anyway, so The Sintern, you have Chastity, Verity, is her all the name? She's, you know, you got Pastor Dean, you got Gage, you got Sam, you got Ruby. Basically, we're introduced to Verity. She is a troubled young adult who has a scumbag boyfriend who basically borrowed money from somebody, and now he's trying to get it back. So he's trying to shake down other people for money. But he's kind of a dick.
Yeah,
she's like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. Oh shit! On the page for the Sintern, guess what's recommended?
The Matrix.
Killer body count.
Oh,
also,
yeah,
What Happens in Miami, Sins of the Bride, and Invasive. Two of those are Tubi movies.
All right, that makes sense. So she basically is like, I'm leaving you. I'm done with this. And she gets a phone call. So we see the preacher, Pastor Dean, who has returned to his church after being gone for a long time. His dad used to run it. He's now the son that's taking it over. A woman comes in while he's doing his sermon and is basically like, you're a liar, you're a cheater, like blah, 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 blah. And they remove her. We learn that is Verity's mom. She's outside on a payphone. And at first I was like, what the fuck? Where's her payphone like in 2024? And they actually kind of address that, which is interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
So she's calling and she's like, honey, she's like, I'm so sorry. You need to know the truth. I love you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
She then disappears. And then Verity basically is like, this church has got something to do with it. She was at the church, you know. So I'm going to, you know, pretend to be a good girl.
Yeah.
And, you know, she's not a good girl because she's wearing a leather jacket.
Right. I will say.
And she has blue tips on her hair.
I will say. I did say to my wife, there are a bunch of things with this movie that actually surprised or impressed me. And one was they didn't take, Evelyn is her real name, they didn't take her look too far into heavy metal, punk rock, goth, whatever. But they also didn't dial her back to, like, Little House on the Prairie outfits.
Right.
I thought it was actually a pretty decent balance between the two appearances she had. You don't see that a lot.
No, it's a pretty good job. Usually, like, she would have been like over the top, like.
Oh yeah.
But it worked. So she, with her friend Ruby that she's staying with, they change up her look and they get her in there to be an intern, the Sintern, if you will.
Yep, for the social
church.
media.
Yeah, she's gonna be the social media person. So she's trying to connect with Pastor Dean. We know that Pastor Dean's got some weird stuff going on.
The only problem that Chastity Verity, whatever, has is that she is too eager to finish and get the fuck out of there.
Yeah, it's like the first day she's there, she's like all in.
On the other hand, though, with it being new, that's the only time I think you can be told, oh, you're not supposed to go in here, don't do it again. So I can see the balance, but she later on, she pushed it too far. And you find out that a bunch of these people, like the woman that told her about the job opening, and then the older woman with the, does she have a lisp? I want to say just to identify her.
Maybe a tiny bit, yeah.
They're just nice people.
They're the good church folk.
Yeah, and it was nice to see that it like whatever this pastor did, like it hasn't really touched them in any way. They still believe they're doing, you know, the good for the neighborhood, for the community. So that was a nice touch too. But oh no, it was the other movie where her friends, they would be talking normal and then it would seem like they get really like aggressive and bitchy, but then they all laugh. And I don't know, that just felt a little off to me. It's like, are they going to be friends or not? They're all in the same situation. Anyway, that's not this movie.
Yeah, that was the other movie. This, she's just trying to do her thing.
Yeah.
You know, she's, you know, we see that the pastor, you know, has got some things going on with some of the women that are there. The problem with this movie, though, there's a number of problems with this movie, is everything is like super, super pedestrian.
Oh, yeah.
Like, we don't even really find out what the pastor has done other than, like, he has slept with some of the women. Like, and then like we also learn that the wife is involved in some sort of way, and like everything is very like precursory, like and some bad stuff happened.
Yeah,
You know?
I will say
nobody dies, nobody gets hurt.
No,
Like,
no. I thought the assault actually went further than I expected it to.
Okay.
And she did a great job acting, yelling no and doing all that. Like her you can tell when people are really giving it their all when they scream. And
yeah.
she impressed me with that. I was actually surprised how much effort, violence, and energy she put into trying to defend herself. I didn't, from everything else in this teenage Mormon written crime drama, I didn't expect that. So good for the movie for doing that.
Yeah. But yeah, so she's trying to catch the pastor and figure out what happened to her mom. We have a good cop that's trying his best to like figure out what's going on. He has a connection to her also, which we don't know at first. It's all thoroughly fine. To take a term that I used when I said that the other movie wasn't, and so many of the other Tubi originals we watched are, this movie's very toothless. It's got no bite to it. It's, as you said, how did you frame it? If a Mormon...
Let me look up the exact text. But that was only like 20 minutes into it. Toward the end, it changed. It did, like once the pastor, bad guy, kind of knows what's going on, or thinks he has an idea, it gets a little harder. What did I put here? Nope, that's my notes app. You weren't kidding. The Sintern is what you get when you ask a Mormon teenager to write about crime. Yeah, I got that pretty close.
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Not bad. Yeah, and they lay on the church stuff pretty thick with everybody naming their favorite psalms and like.
To be fair, though, that did show that she didn't know shit about where she was going. She did no prep work for this at all.
None. And then you got the ex-boyfriend Sam, who is like that part of the story. Was just added to create more tension.
I think there's go ahead.
It's just added to create more tension, and Sam owes money to this other guy, Rico.
Yeah, of course.
And like, if Sam doesn't get the money, Rico's gonna kill him, and if she doesn't help Sam get the money, he's gonna kill her. And like, this dude just shows up at the church like during the things with like a gun.
Yeah,
it's just like it's just too much. It's too much, and they didn't need any of that. And I get that this film is like loosely presented as a horror film. Like it's really like presented more as a mystery, but like
it's a
light Lifetime movie at best, really, to be honest. Like it's not OTC cult fare by any stretch of the imagination. It's super pedestrian. It's super easygoing. Like a 3-year-old could watch this and not even like blink at it.
Yeah, I can see the writers of this though thinking that in order for Chastity to stay at the church and in the job, she needs to have some kind of overarching reason that supersedes her finding out about her mother, because now she has to stay there until they do their live stream so they can get the money. And then there's other plans and other ideas, because I kind of appreciated the fact that they adapted to the situations, or like when a person shows up at the wrong time and that wasn't the plan, but the cop is there and he does what he needs to do and everything changes. But they all have an idea of how they want this to end, and I thought they were pretty adaptable, which you don't really see. Usually the plan just falls apart. And it's like, okay, we got to regroup and do something else. But they didn't have to this time. That was a surprise too.
Yeah.
I had no expectations for this, can you tell?
Yep. All right, Chris, then if you're so into it, do you recommend the Sintern? And what'd you grade?
All right, here's the thing. So I didn't check my phone once while this was on, except to text you that early in the beginning. Once I put the phone down, I watched it and I was kind of into it because it was so like you said, pedestrian. It's just like so everyday problem. Not that, a priest killing your mother's an everyday problem. Maybe that happened. But she played it off relatively low key and believable. And I just wanted to see everybody get what was coming to them. And there were a couple surprises. There was some nice stuff. I had never seen this actress before, so she was a surprise because we've watched so many movies. VHS has segments with actors and actresses that do a worse job than the people in this movie, and we love those. So I liked her. I liked her looks. I liked the way she acted. I'm ignoring that, and I think that I'm not going to recommend it because this is not the kind of movie that we watch or recommend. However, I thought it was pretty solidly written, except for the contrivance to get an object into a certain place at a certain time so that the movie could end. That felt forced and really forced. But I can kind of forgive it because like you have written yourself into a corner at this point. Right. So you got to figure out a good way to do that. So I can, yeah. But as far as just an entertaining story, I don't know if I was tired, if I was in a good, I don't know, but I did not mind watching this at all, which is fucking weird because this is nowhere near anything I would normally pick. But I'm going to give this a B+.
Wow.
Yeah, it's not a good movie, but the story kept me interested, and I didn't draw, I didn't play a game, nothing. So that's, I gotta, give credit where credit's due. Good job, movie. You kept my attention.
Interesting.
Weird. I would have never expected that. And I'm kind of disbelieving my own self as I'm saying this.
That's fair. So my take on the Sintern is drastically different.
I know.
Well, maybe not drastically different, but I can't recommend it. It's just boring. Like there's nothing. The movie doesn't offer you anything that you haven't seen a million times before done better. I won't disagree with you. I thought the acting was solid for what it was. The lead was good. She did a good job. The guy from Glee was good. Like he totally came across like as believable and likable. And the guy that played the preacher was definitely smarmy enough to be like, oh, fuck this guy.
Yeah, he could pull both attitudes, which was good.
But like I said before, this movie has no teeth. So there was nothing to like bite with on it. And as it went on, it just got like the ridiculous situations of like adding the boyfriend and being like, you owe Rico money. I owe Rico money. So that means you owe Rico money. So now we're going to, rather than, I know you're trying to figure out what happened to your mom, but now you need to fleece these guys out of $250,000 or whatever.
Right.
And then like the stuff with the cop is like maybe the father. And then like the father, like it's, I'm just like, fucking no. And nobody even gets killed. Like there isn't even like well, actually the mother does. That's a lie. The mother.
Oh yeah. Yeah. A lot of women died.
But there's like no action. There's no like,
no,
there's nothing.
This is like a stage play, a stage drama just put on screen. That's it. So that's not a bad thing, but
I can't give it a terribly low grade, but I can't give it a great grade either. So I'm going to go with the D+, borderline C-. Okay. Because it's just thoroughly fine. Like, no, it's not even fine. It's just like, well, they finished it and there's nothing wrong, like outwardly wrong with it.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's my thought on the Sintern.
Terrible title.
Terrible title.
A Daughter's Justice. That's what it should be called.
A Daughter's Justice. And then she finds God at the end of it too, which kind of bugged me.
Oh, did she?
Well, like she ends up getting together with the Glee kid.
Oh yeah, I'm sure
they and they go to the church and stuff. So like,
I mean, nothing says she doesn't believe. She just doesn't have the education that the other people in the church do.
I guess.
But
anyway,
it doesn't matter at that point. She's investigating.
Speaking of investigating, Reverend Scott's here.
Okay.
And I'm sure he's going to give us a review of a film that we'll cover in a few months. And then he'll make fun of us for being like, I covered it first.
Yep.
All right, here we go.
Looks like I have you caught in my trap, a captive audience for my ramblings.
Oh, how's Scooby and the gang gonna get out of this one? What?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. With Reverend Scott. Date my dad.
Hey there, Bill and Chris. This is Reverend Scott, coming to you yet again via my disembodied voice.
I'm afraid I would get, like, hepatitis or something just looking at him.
Gee, thanks. And this week, I'll let you know if your reviews from last week were any good. But then I'm going to review a new movie I saw in the theater called Speak No Evil.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking was going to happen.
I wanted to talk about that for a second.
Exactly,
Yeah, okay.
exactly. Thank you for doing that.
You're welcome. So last week on It Came From Tubi, you talked about
Deadly Invitations,
which sounded mainly like a poorly designed road by a bridge that the Department of Transportation should really take a look at, but they're not. Because a woman was just run off the road there and was not the only one.
My husband died here less than a year ago the same way. That's fucking weird.
Well, it may seem weird at first until you analyze this deep film and realize it was murder. But I can understand your confusion. You couldn't even figure out how the characters knew where they were.
The locations of everything in this is bizarre.
Yeah, because she just moved there. How does she know where this is?
You got me. I also think there was some weird drug shit going on with that episode influencing your confusion too.
Oh, I touched my pocket square in my nose, so that means get the Rohypnol.
I don't know. Sounds pretty bad. I give it a D+. That's
about
but the
right.
review? That wasn't bad. I give it a B. But then there was Romy. Was it bad? I don't know. Let's see. It's about some young girl with a powerful, influential mother.
So the setup is that she's done this hit and run. This guy has been gravely injured. And now the mother is going to do what she can to cover for her.
Which is virtually identical to the plot of the 2020 Bryan Cranston-led show, Your Honor. But where this differs, besides the budget, script, and acting, is the girl is hidden away in a super smart house until mommy can fix everything for her.
Basically, Siri in a home on steroids.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
To me, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Whatever. But of course, there's a twist that I'm guessing involves someone living in the walls or a werewolf. But you guys couldn't care less about any of that, because you couldn't seem to concentrate anymore after you realized Romy could do almost anything. But you know she's not real, right?
What?
But that didn't stop you from trying to utilize her services on the show.
Romy, order me weed.
Yeah.
Anywho, I give Romy a C+. I guess. In your review, that gets a B+. Okay, thank God. On to something worth talking about, which is how fucking awful most movie trailers are.
It's true.
How fucking hard is it to not spoil every fucking beat of the plot and multiple twists within a 2-minute trailer for a 2 fucking hour long movie?
Really fucking hard.
Which leads me to the new movie I saw, Speak No Evil. Starring young, jacked Professor X, that guy and gal from the amazing AMC show called *Halt and Catch Fire*, and a couple of unknown kids. Plus, Professor X had this pretty redhead girl as his wife. And this immediately reminded me of a review you guys did. I can't remember the film, maybe you will later, but you both found it pretty disturbing. I think it was about 2 couples on vacation, and one of the couples kept pushing the other one to do things they were not comfortable with.
I'm playing along.
But they're just too polite to say no.
Curious. That movie's a nightmare.
Here, while vacationing in Italy, Luis, Ben, and their 12-year-old daughter Agnes meet the loud and often rude but kind of funny Patty and his wife Sierra and their disabled young son Ant, who is mostly normal, but he's very shy and he's unable to speak. And after uprooting their lives for Ben's job and moving to London, Ben was laid off. He was given a severance that was pretty good, but now he's pretty stressed out.
That's a problem.
Good point.
But a postcard later on after their Italy vacation was from this family they met, from Patty, inviting their family to go visit Patty's country home in Ireland or some shit. Since he got a nice severance from his job after all, they can afford to do a few more things to kind of unwind. So maybe visiting Patty would be a great idea. Plus, Aunt and Agnes got along very well. But it doesn't take long for Patty and Sierra to start testing boundaries with Ben's family. From getting vegetarian Louise to taste his prize goose, to jumping off cliffs into the water, or leaving their daughter and aunt with a virtual stranger to babysit them while they go eat at this neighbor's farm. Patty is constantly lying and then saying it was a joke just to see how far he can go before they try and call him out politely. This even goes for how he punishes his own child and treats their daughter.
That's fucking weird.
And knowing that much is totally fine. I think that's a perfectly good amount of information to have on this film before seeing it. Do you really need to know more?
I'm trying to think if there's anything that is important.
Seriously, it's a movie. You know it's going to escalate from there, so seeing more in the trailer, to me, is unfucking necessary. But damn if they don't want to show way more than that. Like, way too much. Maybe suggest some nefarious or malicious intentions via photos and music and things like that, or just little close-ups of faces, or have a voiceover guy tell you that not everything is as it seems.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
That was enough for me to be like, yeah, it might be all right.
But with the exception of the, I'd say, largest secret in this movie, they leave nothing to the imagination in the trailer. It's like the cliff notes for like showing you 95% of the plot of this film. Otherwise, there's multiple scenes during this film that I would have probably have watched and thought,
what the fuck just happened?
Not to mention, I saw the trailer before virtually every movie that I've seen for fucking weeks, if not months. I bet I've seen this trailer 50 fucking times between TV and the theater. I saw someone on Twitter say that they got the trailer for this movie before the movie itself.
What the fuck?
The ironically aggressive ad campaign that I'm too polite to say no to aside, there's a lot to enjoy in this film. You get insight into Ben and Louise's marriage and struggles and a sense of dread throughout the majority of their interactions with Patty's family. And the final 25 minutes or so of this film they're just fucking intense. Not just the action, but during scenes where you know a secret and the characters know a secret, but they don't want Patty and his family to know that they know the secret. And can they escape without cluing them into what they know? And what are the consequences if they don't escape?
This thing is so fucking messy. It's not convoluted. It's not confusing. They literally fucked things up.
Try and avoid the advertising, but even if you can't, I still highly recommend Speak No Evil. The kids do a great job. Scoot McNairy and Mackenzie Davis are very believable as this too nice, stressed out couple, and James McAvoy really steals the show with his performance. The faces he makes alone at times are just uncomfortable at the least, and at the most,
oh, spooky, creepy.
Yep. I give Speak No Evil a B+. Well, that's it for this frustrating review. So until the next theater slop I go slurp up, peace and love, guys. Outside the cinema.
Horny for the English D.
So Scott didn't mention it. I don't know if Scott realized it, that Speak No Evil is a remake
right
of that same film.
Yeah. No, I think he was greatly hinting at the fact that we covered it, but didn't want to say it.
Well, maybe he didn't realize it was an actual remake of that film, because it is.
Maybe, yeah.
And I think it's even the same title, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think both called Speak No Evil. Let me just scan through very quickly here. Was that last year we covered that, or 2 years ago?
Oh, probably last year, because it still feels uncomfortable to me.
But I thought we were done with this. Like, foreign movie comes out, it's done well. We're gonna just they're both called Speak No Evil.
Yeah.
And it was an IFC Shudder film, so it's not even like it was like a very like obscure movie.
If it was on Shudder, then a bunch of people saw it.
Yeah. So I thought we were through with the making a very quick remake 2 years after the original that was made which was perfectly a good film. Not a film that you're like, oh my God, I love that film because it's very dark, but like well made, well shot, well received. Well, let's make a version of it where everyone's speaking English. I thought we were through with that. Like I didn't think we still needed to do that.
I did hear one thing the director said that they changed from one to the other. People in Europe generally will ignore almost bad behavior or insulting behavior, like we saw in the film. They'll put up with a lot. But since it's going to be Americans, he said that there's a point where the director believes that Americans would start to fight back. And that's fine, but that's not the movie. You're not watching a movie about people that get a happily ever after. Nothing's happy about this movie.
Yeah.
So watch the original, because the original ending is a fucking gut punch.
Oh, it's so dark.
Here, I'm assuming Professor X gets 2 through the fucking eyebrows. And
I wouldn't count on it. I haven't seen it.
Oh, no, he's the good guy, right? I mean, the bad guys get shot.
Yeah, he's the bad guy. So, either way. So, there you have that. Let's play this.
It's like Knock Knock.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out with us. We're going to continue down the Tubi road probably for at least the next few weeks. With the surgery coming up and everything, it's just going to be easier to kind of like have everything in one place.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
if you want to follow Chris and I, you can follow us on Instagram at OTCBill, at Cthulhu. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/outside the cinema. We also have a Facebook group if you're interested in there. You can follow me on Whatnot, Old School Edge. I should probably just change that to OTC Bill too. Either way. So, cool. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you like the show, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everyone.